Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to everyone who watched this video. So now we will explain what's all the point that we have got from the book. But before we jump to the first material, let me introduce my group members first. First, here we got Dimas Bintang Pratama with his student's number is E1D022185. Next is Bait Syabana with her student's number is E1D022178. Next is myself, Maulana Akbar, with my student's number is E1D022211. Next is Juleha with her student's number is E1D022199. Next is Tegar Sabriansha. Alright, so we got 5 points from the book, plus we will also explain the conclusion. So we will explain 6 materials here. Alright, let's jump to the first material, which will be explained by my friend Dimas Bintang Pratama. So time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dimas Bintang Pratama, and I want to tell you about the first material. And the first material is language and brain. And language and brain, we including 5 points. So the first one is the human brain, especially the cerebrum or neocortex, is responsible for language processing. The cerebrum is the outermost layer of the brain that plays a role in various cognitive aspects, including motor movements and sensation and language. So the second material is lobes. Lobes involved in language. So the first one is temporal lobe. Temporal lobe plays a role in understanding spoken and auditory language. So the second one is frontal lobe, associated with language production and motor control for speaking. So the third point is important areas in language processing. So the first one is broadcast area, that in frontal lobe plays a role in language production. If damaged, it causes broadcast aphasia, which is difficulty speaking, but understanding is still relatively good. Sufferers often speak in short sentences that are not grammatically correct. For example, eat, hungry, without connecting words. So the second point is Wernicke's area, and that's in temporal lobe, plays a role in language comprehension. If damaged, it causes Wernicke's aphasia. Namely, the sufferer can speak fluently, but his speech does not have a clear meaning. For example, of a speech sufferer of Wernicke's aphasia: I see the house, but tomorrow I won't rain there to hear the car. A fluent sentence, but doesn't make sense. So the last point is aphasia, language disorder due to brain damage. Broadcast aphasia, difficulty in speaking but understanding remains good. The sentences produced tend to be disjoint, and without correct grammar. So the last point is Wernicke's aphasia, can speak fluently but cannot understand the language well. Speech often does not have a clear meaning. So that's all from me. I will be delivered by my friend. Thank you.
Okay, so next move on to the next topic. Before that, my name is Baik Syabana. So now I will going to explain about multiple language in the brain. The brain stores and processes multiple language, but the degree of overlap depends on proficiency. Case studies of bilingual opposite question also show that one language can be lost while the other remains intact, or that recovery of one language can occur at the expense of the other. Bilingualism is common. 50 until 70% of the world population is bilingual. So, about 50 until 70 of the world population speaks more than one language. Okay, there are two types of bilingualism. The first one is simultaneous bilingual. Simultaneous bilingual is learning two languages from an early age, like someone who learns two languages from a young age before fully mastering the first language. The second one is sequential bilingual, learning a second language after mastering first language. So, someone who learns a second language after mastering the first language is a sequential bilingual. The bilingual brain shows individual variation in language representation. So, in highly proficient bilingual, the first-second language have similar areas of activation, while in bilinguals with low proficiency, that second language activation is more spread out and not so focused on the first language.
Okay, next, the bilingual brain. This PPT have 3 points. The first one, fMRI and PET scan. Number 2, aphasia in bilinguals. Number 3, proficiency affect representation. Okay, I will explain one by one. The first one, fMRI and PET scan show the multiple language active overlapping areas in fMRI and PET scan show the multiple language active overlapping areas in the brain. fMRI and PET that show the multiple language active largely overlapping regions. However, this study generally report averages across participants rather than patterns within individual. Aphasia in bilinguals. Number 1, one language can be lost while another remains intact. Number 2, some patients recover language at different rates. Next, proficiency affect representation. Have to point, highlight proficiency second language speakers use similar brain regions for both language. 2, lower proficiency, more widespread and varied brain activation. Second language are not necessarily represented in the same areas as first language, but they appear to become increasingly overlapping with first language as people become more proficient, while early age of acquisition are associated with increased proficiency. It might be provide representation of language in the brain.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Degar Sabriansyah. I will explain 3 points. The first point is phonological representation. Bilinguals sometimes mix both of the language, like when one language doesn't have specific sound, they will replace with other language. For example, when bilingual has the main language is France and the second language is English, when they say the word this, for example, they sometimes replace with this because it happens because there are no
sound of the in the front. And the second point is lexical representation. When bilingual speaking or listening, several words come to their brain. It shows that bilingual cannot fully control that the word appear on their brain. For example, when they see the pictures of a dog in English, sometimes the words, let's say the second language is Indonesia, so the second words appear on their head is anjing. It happens because the bilingual cannot fully control it, so it actives at the same time. That cannot be unswitched. The last point is syntax and grammar. Structure of one language can impact the bilingual how they produce a sentence. For example, the first main language is Indonesia and the second language in English. So if there are sentences that says nice hat you got there, so when they translate to Indonesia, it can be kamu punya topi yang bagus. So it not according to grammar. So that's how it works. That's all from me. To move into next, my friend will explain. Thank you. That's all from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alright, so the next two materials will be delivered by myself. First, here we got the broader impact of bilingualism. Yeah, so basically I will explain the disadvantage and advantages of being a bilingual person. So first is lexical disadvantage. Bilinguals may experience slower word retrieval, leading it to more tip of the tongue or TOT moments. For example, if we want to say pineapple in English, our brain might also recall nanas in Bahasa Indonesia. It happens because our brain manages two languages at the same time, making it slightly longer to pick the right one. Next, here we got cognitive advantages. Yeah. First one is task switching. Since bilinguals constantly switch between languages, bilinguals become better at handling multiple tasks efficiently. The next advantages is attention control. It means bilinguals can ignore distraction more easily because their brain is trained to focus on a language that they need at the moment. And also, another advantages is not only related to cognitive, but beyond of that, because studies also shows that bilingualism can make your brain healthy longer and can even delay memory problem, for example like Alzheimer's disease. Next material is the conclusion. So bilingualism affects both how we process language and how our brain works in general. The way multiple languages are stored in the brain depends on how well we speak them and how often we use them. People who speak more than one language may sometimes take longer to find the right word, but they also develop better skills in switching between tasks, focusing attention, and handling multiple things at once. Overall, being bilingual helps the brain stay flexible and improves thinking skills beyond just language use. Yeah, I think that's all for our presentation. Thank you for all the group members that have been explained their material really well, and also thank you for your attention. Last word I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.